Hello everyone, I'm Bruffy1322 and welcome to the return of the Real Life Racing series. Now, if you came to my channel in 2016 or later and didn't go back to look at my old videos, this will probably be more of an introduction to the Real Life Racing series, but for the rest of us, this has been a long day coming. You guys are often asking me about the Real Life Racing series, and here it is. Finally, we are back on a karting track, a different karting track this time, to do some racing in real life. So what I'm going to do is explain a little bit about this event. First of all, how it's come to be, how I was able to record this and, get some footage in general for this return for the series. And then I'm going to go on to explain a little bit about what happens in the race. And then finally explain why I'm bringing this series back, what my goals are with this series. Because it's something a little bit different to what we've seen from pretty much anything that I've done before. So first of all, we're seeing the qualifying period of this event. There was a 7-lap qualifier and then a half an hour race, which we'll see the main highlights of as we go through this video. And obviously it's a different track than what the Real Life Racing series used to be. For those who've never seen the Real Life Racing series before, there was a 2014 and a 2015 series. They're some of the best videos that I've ever made on my channel. So it was always my favourite series, this. And I'll leave a link to those series in the description if you want to check them out. But yeah, we're coming on to the final lap of qualifying in a short while here, and I'm actually in second place. As you can see, if we've got all the timing on the screen, I obviously do this manually in video editing, but it just makes the experience so much better for you guys watching. It's the final lap of qualifying and I am in second place. I'm 0.2 of a second off the best lap. As you can see in the top left, first place has a best lap of 108.0. I have a best lap of 108.2, so I'm having to put it in on this final lap to try and get pole position. Now, the people who are in this race are people who you may know from a stream. So recently we went to the Insomnia Gaming Festival down in Birmingham. There was quite a lot of people from sort of my community there. We've got people like Sarch, CoinDog, Panda, MB Hammer, Ascabini, all these kind of people who you may know from streams. For those who frequent my streams, just names that you know who we race against in GTA and all that kind of stuff as well. And while we were there, I had the idea to go to a karting circuit and do a bit of real life racing, essentially a real life 1322 crew stream race, I guess you could say. Obviously, as you can see there, I managed to pump in a 104 right at the end to get pole position, but in classic stream race fashion, I wanted to start at the back just to make it a little bit more interesting. So this is the race now. We start the race here. 27 laps we've got for this race. I'm in 19th position out of 19, and you'll see how it goes obviously as we go through. But yeah, we've got some familiar faces, some familiar names in this race, and it was just a lot of fun to do that. So I picked a track in Birmingham. Obviously there's quite a few tracks in Birmingham. That's where the gaming festival was. And this was the kind of the best one really, because it's an outdoor track. There's a lot of indoor tracks which aren't really as good as outdoor tracks, frankly. So this has a very similar feel to the old track that I used to race on. The other Real Life Racing series years were based on. But obviously it was raining, it was wet, so it was quite interesting. I think it being wet made it even more entertaining and more interesting to drive the track, to be honest. It's a little bit shorter than the older track, and without the rain it would have been very, very straightforward to get around. There's probably only around 2 places where you would have had to brake, but because of the rain, because it was wet, it really was an interesting experience, and there were some corners that were really interesting to drive, and the karts themselves I quite enjoyed a lot more because there was a lot more feel on the brakes than what I used to get in the older karts from the older series. But as you can see, we're coming on to we've finished the first lap here. You can see in the top left we've got the distance to first place, so that's something to keep an eye on. That will always pop up for about 5 seconds when we get to the end of every single lap, just to keep you updated on whereabouts I am in position to first place. And that's something new for the overall overlay that I've done. I've done some small improvements, but you're probably not going to notice really. It's more positional changes and just making things look a little bit nicer. But yeah, that's just something that I wanted to include because I've got quite a lot of information for this race, and if you want to see the full finishing results and best laps from everybody and where everybody finished and the overall laps that everybody did and where they were on each lap and all that kind of stuff in terms of positions. There is a link down below in the description to a spreadsheet which contains all the information for this event and gives you the full rundown of where everybody came, who was in it, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, making my way through the pack at this point, and I do have a lot more experience in wet conditions, which is you see me take very different lines to what a lot of other people are taking, and it's working out better for me, and you would be forgiven for thinking they're not the right lines because I'm going around the outside of the track. But in wet conditions, the grip that is laid down, the rubber that's laid down on the regular racing line is actually more slippy in wet conditions, so it is better to go around the outside of the track. You get more grip and more momentum out of the corners, and that's what you're seeing here as we're going through the race. So yeah, it was really fun to get back behind the wheel of a go-kart. It'd been so long since I'd done it, and especially with the other series, it was one of my favourite series to make, and I was so disappointed that I wasn't able to continue it. People still ask me to this day why I'm not doing the real life racing series anymore, and obviously we have a little bit of a moment here as well, I just thought I'd mention that. But that little moment for the person who was in third place gets me up into third place, and now I've basically got a clear gap ahead of me to the top two, who were kind of in a little league of their own. I'm 14.8 seconds behind the lead, and now it's time for me to see if I can catch up. But the people still keep asking me to this day why I don't continue to do the real life racing series, and I actually explained why as we went through the end of the 2015 series. All you have to do is watch that 2015 series to see why I can't do it anymore, and it's because GoPros essentially are banned at the track that I used to race on, which is a silly decision. I don't get it at all. It's supposedly on safety grounds, but I'm allowed to use a GoPro at this karting track, which was really interesting. I didn't know whether the GoPros being banned at karting circuits was just an overall thing, so I was kind of a little bit unsure about whether I'd be able to even film this race, but thankfully I was able to use my GoPro, put it on, and get this great footage for you guys. And I'll leave a link to the track as well down below in the description if anyone wants to check it out. But yeah, it was great to get back to doing this again, and I've really enjoyed editing it afterwards as well, and putting it all together, putting all the lap times in, telling the story of what happened in the race through the visual aspects and all that kind of stuff. It's what I always loved about this series, and it just kind of brought back to me how disappointed I was that I wasn't able to continue the series at the old track because of the stupid rules that they had with GoPros. So yeah, that's why I'm not continuing the series like that at the old track, and that's why I haven't been doing it for the last 2 years. It's because I wasn't allowed to film, I wasn't allowed to get the footage, and if I can't give you the footage of the races, then there's no series at all. So yeah, like I said, check out the old series if you're at all interested in all of this, because they really were some of the best videos I've ever made. Really fun to make. Really, they became sort of the thing that people used to look forward to on my channel back in 2014 and 2015, even more so than the GTA stuff, because it was just something so unique and special, and it was telling my story about racing in real life. And that's kind of what I want to get towards with this 2018 series. So not only I feel like I've outgrown a little bit simulator racing in games, so whether it's Gran Turismo, Project Cars, things like that. And that's why GTA has such an appeal to me, because it's kind of so different and so fresh and interesting. It's just, it keeps it interesting, whereas to me, simulator racing in games, because I've raced in real life like this, it doesn't have quite the same appeal. I would much rather just go to a track and race in real life than I would spend hours with a steering wheel in my room. Now, it's not to say that I still don't enjoy it from time to time, but it does have a very limited lifespan for me when it comes to playing Gran Turismo, for example, or Project Cars or things like that. I get bored quite easily, or the motivation is not quite as there to continue it, really get serious about it. because I'd rather be doing it in real life instead. By the way, I have just caught up to second place here, so the battle that you're seeing on the screen now is the battle over second place, and as you keep seeing in the top left, as we go past every lap, we are gradually, well, I say gradually, it's by quite a decent amount every single lap, catching up to first place, so it's going to start getting dicey in a battle for the lead very shortly. But something that I've wanted to do for a while, ever since that sort of real life racing series ended, and my enjoyment of real life racing in general, not just karting, was sort of solidified within me, is to not only race in real life in karts, but to race in cars. And that's what this series is going to be about. The 2018 Real Life Racing Series is going to talk about and showcase my journey to race in cars in a regular real life racing situation. At this point I thought I was going to get up into second place here, by the way, but I didn't manage to do it because I got blocked off there and there was nowhere for me to go. I did have the run, I had the overspeed, but didn't manage to do it. But finally I do, as we get further on this lap, I do manage to get up into second place. And then we've got the leader who's just ahead in the blue suit. That is Coindog. He led from the start of the race from pole position, and now we are seeing a battle for first place. So yeah, what I really want to do is race in cars. I want to. There's quite a few series that I'm looking at. Specifically, in the UK, there's quite a few Mazda MX-5 series for sort of the Gen 1 cars, the Series 1 cars, and that is something that I'm aiming towards. Now, I don't know whether it's going to come off. I don't know whether I'm going to be able to realize that dream. I don't know whether I'm going to be good enough to be able to do it. But obviously racing in real life is something that I've wanted to do for a long time, and karting was a way to do that, but I want to take it to the next step. I don't want to just go around kart circuits all the time. I would like to actually race properly, and trying to get into an entry level, club level car series in some way is what I want to do from this throughout this year, or at least try to pursue that aspect of life, I guess, and bring it to you guys. So not all of these 2018 real life racing series are going to be races like this in a go-kart. Some of them will be vlogs where I'm doing something different, or it's going to be quite unique, I guess. This is the moment where it all kicks off in the race, by the way. We're so close to getting up into first place, and as you'll see on the screen, this is kind of where it all happens. And from this point, I generally don't look back. I just keep going, and like I said, I had a lot more experience in the wet conditions for karting than the rest of these guys, but it was fun nevertheless to start at the back like I normally do on stream races in GTA and work my way up through the field, and had a good little race for second and first place as well. But ultimately, just knowing the right lines to use in the wet conditions is such a big advantage at this point. But maybe we'll do this again. Maybe if we go to another Insomnia Gaming Festival, we can go to the same track and do another race. Maybe next time it'll be in the dry, and it'll serve as another real life racing video, of course. But yeah, back to what my plans for this series is that I want to show the journey to race in cars. I want to go through this experience myself. I want to get my racing license. I want to at least maybe go on some track days with my own car, for example. Or I've got a driving experience coming up shortly where I'm going to be driving a Ferrari 458, so I'm going to try and get some footage of that as well, and that will probably be episode 2 of this series. And then ultimately I'm aiming that for 2019, the 2019 Real Life Racing Series will be the coverage of me racing in a series in real life in regular cars, in Mazdas or whatever it turns out to be. That's what I want to do, and I want to use the 2018 series to showcase that journey to hopefully a 2019 series that is every episode another race in proper cars, not just karts. And that's the plan. Hopefully it all works out. It might not, it might. There's going to be so many hurdles along the way, whether it comes to funding, how to get the cars, whether I need to get my own car or I can race as part of a team, or just not passing my test, not passing my racing license, getting my racing license. There's going to be so many hurdles, and ultimately I might just not be good enough. I might just not be cut out for racing cars, and karts is just kind of my level and where I should be. But I want to try. I want to just give it a go, see what happens, and even if nothing comes of it, hopefully the journey that we go on throughout this 2018 series and showcasing the journey to race in real life properly is going to be an entertaining experience to watch. So like I said, the next episode is going to be about the driving experience that I have in the Ferrari, and I don't know how I'm going to get footage of that, whether it'll just be sort of in a vlog style where I'm explaining what I'm doing and all that kind of stuff, or whether I can actually get some in-car footage. We'll see how it goes. I'll obviously you'll find out by the next episode, but and like I said, the videos will be slightly different to the 2014 or 2015 series. It's not going to be every single episode is going to be another race. It's going to be a vlog where I go to the track and I'm doing my racing, trying to get my racing license, that kind of thing, or maybe a vlog where I'm going to check out the cars that I'm going to be trying to race in, or something like that, maybe just a video talking about the finances of how to be a racing driver and what you need. Essentially, this series is going to be about becoming a racing driver, a proper racing driver with the race license and driving proper cars. Hopefully it'll come off. Hopefully this time next year we'll be seeing the first episode of the 2019 series in proper cars, in a proper racing format, but it might not. But ultimately I'm just hopeful that the entire journey will be entertaining for you regardless. And I hope you're glad that the real life racing series is back after all this time, because I really am, and I can't tell you how much I enjoyed putting this footage back into video editing software and putting in all the lap times and all that kind of stuff. It's just something that I'm so passionate about, racing and motorsport in general, and to be able to get back to doing it properly like this and showcase the story of this race to you guys was just so much fun. So yeah, ultimately with this race we had some interesting moments, as you've been seeing on the screen. After I got up into the lead, obviously I wanted to show the full first 9 laps of my journey from the back of the grid to the lead, and then I've been putting in highlights for the rest of the stuff. But we come on to the end here and the final lap, and I was a good amount ahead of CoinDog eventually in second place. He did finish in second place, and like I said, if you want to see the results and the positions that everybody finished and all the names that you're used to seeing on streams and things like that, the link to the spreadsheet down below will be down below in the description. But it was just so much fun. It was so much fun to get back behind the wheel of a kart, do some proper racing in real life, and bring this story to you guys as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for the support. I know it's been a long wait for the real life racing series to return. Not really my fault with that, I guess, when it comes to the track not allowing me to get any footage. But hopefully this series will be an interesting journey, and whatever comes of it, you guys will enjoy. Let me know all your thoughts down below. As always, I really appreciate all of your support. Thank you so much for watching, as always, and I'll see you next time.